Hi, I'm Russ with d6 Mafia, and this is our review of the Lords of Waterdeep. Lords of Waterdeep is a Eurolight-style worker placement game for 2 to 5 players. It takes place in the city of Waterdeep in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting of D&D. In the game, players take on the role of a Lord of Waterdeep, which are mysterious figures that manipulate events from the shadows, attempting to gain more control of the city for themselves. They do this by hiring adventurers, thieves, assassins, spies, bribing politicians, and any number of other unsavory things, attempting to one-up their other lords. These resources are represented by the various components that come within the box. Speaking of the box, we feel hands down this is the best designed box we have ever seen, and for a number of reasons. Not only is it really well organized, you can see here's all the resources over here, all in their one spot. All the various factions have their own spots, but it has clearly been made by people who play board games, and they know that you need to get at your pieces very easily. There shouldn't be a problem reaching in here and pulling things out. And what sort of put it over the top was the indentations that they have in the cards and the 100 victory points. It just makes pulling out these decks incredibly easy. You can see in there also with the 100 victory point tokens. It's just so well designed. But let's take a look at how the game plays. So players collect victory points during the game, which is how you win. As you collect victory points, you move your token around the edge of the board. That way you can kind of gauge who may be ahead, who may be behind. The most effective way to get victory points is by completing quests out of this quest deck. Now there are 5 basic types of quests. You have Piety, Warfare, Arcana, Commerce, and Skullduggery. Beyond these 5 types are regular quests, which just have a basic reward for completing them, and plot quests, which have an ongoing effect that continues turn to turn. For instance, the Commerce quest here has a reward of every time you do an action that gives you gold, you get a rogue resource token as well. Now, to complete a quest, you have to spend the resources to do so. These are usually in the form of adventurers and or gold. You can see this Piety quest costs 5 clerics and 2 gold, but has a big reward of 25 points. This Commerce quest, with the ongoing plot reward, costs 4 rogues, 1 wizard, and 4 gold to complete. Next are the Lords of Waterdeep cards. Now, you'll be dealt one of these in secret at the beginning of the game, and it's kind of going to dictate your strategy throughout the rest of the game. For instance, this one gives you the reward at the end of 4 victory points per Warfare and Commerce quest that you've completed. And this one gives you 6 victory points for each building you've built at the end of the game. So you can kind of see that based on which one you draw, you may want to be trying to gather those types of quests because the reward at the end is going to be usually between 30 and 40 points, which is going to be a pretty big swing. The next type of card are the Intrigue cards. Now there are 3 basic types of Intrigue cards. The first one is the attack card. Now attacks are going to generally try to drain your opponents of some kind of resource, going to try to slow them down a little bit. And there's all various types of attack cards that go after gold or go after different types of adventurers. The next type is the utility card. Now utility is all about helping you. They're going to give you more resources. They may help you get quests. Now some of them might help your opponents a little bit. They might get, maybe 1 adventurer, but you're always going to get the biggest benefit out of them. The last type of card is the mandatory quests. Now you give this to one of your opponents and they must complete it before they can complete any of their quests. It usually has a low resource cost, but it also has a very low victory point reward for completing it. So it really is like just a small drain on the resources, which can put them back, a couple of plays. Probably the most effective way to drain resources from your opponent. So let's talk about the building tiles. So when the game starts, you'll have 3 buildings here at the Builder's Hall. Now, when a player builds a building, it basically creates a new space for players to visit and gain resources. Now, whoever builds the building gains ownership of it, and that'll last for the rest of the game. Players can't steal buildings from one another. And there's a bonus to the owner when someone else visits your building to gain resources. Once a building is built, it is replaced with another building. And you can see here at the top, there is a gold piece cost to construct each building. Now, the way the game keeps track of turns, there will be 8 total rounds, and a round consists of players playing through all of their agents or workers. As the rounds progress, they'll each have 3 victory point tokens sort of placed on them. Once the next round begins, you'll take the victory point tokens and put them on each of the buildings. Kind of incentivizes players going to build buildings later in the game when building buildings is not quite as beneficial, but at least they can go there and maybe pick up some quick victory points. So let's talk about placing our agents. So agents are the worker placement part of this worker placement game. During each player's turn, they can take 2 actions. If they have an available agent, they must place that agent on one of the spaces. The other action that they may take, and they may do both, is complete a quest. Now, they don't have to complete a quest, even if they meet the requirements. That may be part of your strategy. But placing an agent on a space gains you the resource that the space indicates. For instance, placing an agent at the Black Tower gets you a wizard. Placing it at the Field of Triumph gives you 2 warrior tokens. Placing it at Castle Waterdeep gains you 1 intrigue card, and it gains you the first player token, which will mean that you will be going first during the next round, after all workers have been placed and cleared away. The way you pick up quest is by placing an agent in any one of these 3 spaces. Placing it at this space gives you 2 gold plus any one of the face-up quests. Placing it at the second one gets you a face-up quest and an intrigue card. Placing it at the last one means that you wipe out the quests that are sitting here, and then you get to place 4 new quests out and pick from one of those right away, and adding it to your uncompleted quests. We already talked a little bit about the Builder's Hall, but that's, again, one of the places you can place your agent. You place it there, you pay the gold cost to build a building, and then you may put it out as a new available space with your faction symbol next to it. The last space I want to talk about is Waterdeep Harbor. Now, this is kind of an interesting space because you place your agents in order from 1, 2, and 3. When you place them, you play an intrigue card. Now, this is kind of the most common way to play an intrigue card. After all the agents have been placed, then the agents who are at the Waterdeep Harbor may then be placed on any open space, effectively giving them a second turn. So now let's talk about the player mats. We're using the red sashes to represent us. This is basically a way to organize all your pieces, keep track of your resources and your quests. So at the top, you have your agent pool. That's where your unspent agents or workers are going to be sitting. It helps you keep track of all the other players' moves. There are cards that give you extra agents. You may return one that's already been placed back to your pool. So players may have more or less moves they can do, and this just kind of helps you keep track of what other players are doing. And next you have your tavern. This is where all your resources sit. You have your gold pieces. These all represent 1 each. And then you have the moons that represent 5. And then your adventurers also hang out in the tavern, telling the stories of their quests and their adventures into the Undermountain. Below that are the completed quests. Now, once you complete a quest, it goes face down here. That way other players don't know, how many quests you've completed. Maybe somebody has been picking up a bunch of warfare quests and you think, oh, they must have a warfare bonus lord, but how many have they completed? Did they complete 3? Have they completed 7? It's hard to tell, and that's one of the strategies. Now, next to this is the plot quests that have been completed. You put them here so that you can keep track of all the ongoing effects that you have going on. For instance, whenever you gain gold, you get a rogue token. That's here organized so that you can see what you want to do. Lastly, we have the active quests. The active quests go on this side so you can kind of plan out your strategies. What resources do you need to complete these various quests? What rewards do they give? Does one chain into another? Is it going to help you completing this quest first, help you complete this quest down the line? It really helps you kind of plan out your turns and what you want to do. So what do we think about this game? Well, as far as Euro games are concerned, this one really hit it out of the park with flavor. This game is all about the flavor, which I think is great because, well, we here at D6 Mafia are all pretty nerdy. We like Dungeons and Dragons, and this one, more than any other Euro we've really played, just really concentrates on the story and the flavor for as much as you can have that. I mean, for me personally, I love the idea of sending off, 4 rogues, 2 warriors, and a wizard, into the Undermountain, to complete the quest right on the Undermountain, to get the rewards. They're going after Halaster's treasures down there. It's kind of neat, the juxtaposition where you're playing the Lord of Waterdeep. You're the quest giver rather than, the adventurers going on the quests. That being said, while it's, big thumbs up for us, some people see that D&D, that fantasy, and it's immediately a turnoff for them. So that might, really turn people away, especially people who maybe aren't big gamers, not really into Euros, or really just not into D&D at all. That being said, we still think it is a really, really amazing gateway game for people getting into Euros. The rules are very, very simple. When you boil it right down, there are only 5 types of resources. There's the 4 adventurers and gold. That's really simple. I mean, there's no tech trees to worry about. There's just one type of card, the intrigue cards. It's really simple to keep track of all the resources and completing quests, all the things you're going for. Though if you are a big Euro player, you're into the really, hardcore strategic Euros, this is probably not the game for you because the gameplay is, simple, compared to that. But there's still a lot to do. I think there's plenty of strategy, which is what I like about it in particular. It's all about choice. It's all about making your own decisions and planning out your strategy. You're not really forced into things, say, like in games like Catan, where, it's all relying on the dice. If the dice don't go your way, there's nothing you can do. This is you choose, you place your workers, and you gain the resources, and you plan it out. And it's all about kind of, redoing your plans as players make moves and kind of change what you're able to do. Overall, we were really surprised, actually, at how much we like this game, how much flavor it has compared to other Euro games, which in general can be really vanilla. I mean, when you boil it down, all Euros are like, place your worker, get your yellow cube, get your blue cube, spend them to get points to win the game. I mean, that's every Euro, but the flavor, I think, really puts this one over the top and makes it a really enjoyable game. I guess that's about it. I'm Russ with D6 Mafia. Thanks for watching.